Hi Faisal, how are you? Hi Rakesh, hi Ayan.
Hello everyone. Good evening. Good evening, Faisal sir.
Good evening. Good evening.
Hey. Right, so I'll do a quick run through overview within like 10 seconds of what we're going to follow in terms of sequence.
Yeah.
And before we get started. So here we go. It's session is organized and so on and so forth, how we are split. Then we'll run a poll. Short poll understanding what is the audience all about. Then I'll introduce Edthina. I'll introduce AI coach. I will quickly touch base on what is the coaching process. We'll talk about the research basis, just very periphery level, and we'll also talk about the skills that teachers are. That AI coach supports. And then I will introduce you here, right? Short introduction about you.
Yeah.
And then it will be over to you. Once you are finished, you'll pass it back to me.
Yeah.
We'll talk about teacher school benefits, reseller benefits, and what support you get from us, what is the price point, and the next steps. That's it.
Yeah. And fine.
All right?
So when I get introduced, I'll use my PowerPoint. I'll present
Yes.
the audience.
Yeah, that's where you can start. Then it's all yours, and you will give me a cue whenever you want people to talk. So even if you say,
Yeah.
okay,
If not, we'll do it one way where if you could enable the chat box, right?
Chat is going to be always there. So
fine. Then it's fine.
chat is always going to be there. I can enable the voice also. If you just give me a cue, hey, I want everybody to talk or introduce. Or
voice is not required. I think what we can do is we can have it by chat. I think if it is required, I'll let you know. But I think chat will do the job.
Yeah. So you just give me a cue and I will make sure that I'll let them unmute themselves essentially, right? So I can do that. Okay.
Fine. Yeah.
All right. Second. So I'm going to allow everybody to join in and we can start. Hi, good evening, everyone. Welcome to this session of AI-powered teacher development. Thank you so much for making it to this session today. I understand everybody must have had a very long day after their work. You've joined in the evening. Thank you so much for joining in from all across the country. I am Dheeraj Trakru. I am the founding director of India Market Entry and Neutral Trainings. Today, we are going to talk about a very special platform that we are bringing all across from the 7 seas, from the United States, which is Edthina, AI trainer or AI coach by Edthina. Right. Why is this special? Because this is very much aligned to the NCERT's vision of teaching excellence. So we will have a structured session today where I will I have prepared some slides and I will introduce you to the company and the organization Athena itself. What is the overall product or the platform like? What is it developed for? What is the purpose of it? What aspects of teaching will it help all of the teachers, schools, and even business opportunity seekers, to grow themselves? We will start with a couple of slides, and then I have an expert teacher coach, teacher trainer from India itself, Mohamed Faisal, who has joined in all the way from South with us, and he will do a short presentation and a demonstration of how the platform works. Towards the end of the session, we have kept a specific time slot for Q&A session where you will be able to unmute yourself. But meanwhile, we encourage all of you to put in any questions that come across your mind in the chat box as soon as they come. We have our team is also present in this session. We can answer some of your questions right away. If we cannot, we will make sure we would answer them in our dedicated Q&A session. This is going to be an interactive session, so we would love for you to contribute whenever you're prompted to contribute. And our trainer itself would also like your interactions whenever it is asked. So please be engaged, keep everything aside. This is one of the most important sessions for you, and we would like to make it as meaningful as possible. Please do share with us who you are, where you're from, and what is your role in the organization that you're working in the chat. As you can see, my colleague has already shared a template. So I request each and every one of you to please put your details in the chat. We would love to know who you are, and we would try to customize this session as per your needs. Thank you so much, Ashwin, for joining in. Thank you for sharing your background. Please, rest of you as well, please contribute to the chat. Lovely to have you, Ashwin. All right. Let me start with my presentation. Hey, thank you, Aravi. Perfect. Welcome to the session, Aravi. So, most importantly, the NCRT's vision that we have been able to, align with is of teaching excellence. The NEP 2020, of course, everybody has heard about NEP 2020 now, and everybody's talking about it and keeps talking about it. There is a requirement of professional development, mandatory professional development that has been, provided as a guideline through NEP, to CBSE schools, to government-run schools, to all of these schools. And which is where Athena really aligns itself as a trusted global brand, which is currently being used in US, UK, Australia, Japan, Sri Lanka, Bulgaria, Greece, all over the world. And through notable trainings, we are conducting this session today. So let's dive in. Before we actually start talking about Athena itself, we would love to know who you are and what is your relationship with the school currently. So it's a short poll that will appear on your screens, and we would request each one of you to please choose one option that is the most relevant for you. The question is very simple. Please select what best describes your role, all right? And the options are as a teacher, as a school administrator, leader, or a reseller, teacher training provider, an education consultant, right? This is very individualized to each one of you. The role that you recognize yourself with, please put in that. I see that, there are quite a few teachers that have joined in today. The good news is that towards the end of the session, especially for educators and teachers, we will be giving free access to this platform for one cycle. And I'll talk about what is a cycle as well during our presentation. And even Faisal would also talk about the cycle. Once you complete that one cycle, you will receive a professional development certificate. And you'll get to understand better how to execute that cycle and what is the cycle all about within this session. Great to see teachers coming in. We love speaking and addressing and talking to teachers. I would request everybody else also please contribute to this poll before we end it. All right, so we'll end the poll here. Perfect. Thank you so much for sharing who you are with us. Let's dive into it. Let's dive into the company itself. All right. Athena is a US-based teacher development company. It was founded in 2011. Yeah, it's almost about 15 years now, by Adam Geller, himself a former classroom teacher. So Adam was a classroom teacher himself who understood that the real challenges that educators actually face. For over 15 years, Athena has been focused on only one thing: helping teachers improve their classroom practice. They are trusted by schools, universities, and governments globally. But what really sets them apart is the research-led classroom-first approach. I mean, this is not some Silicon Valley startup that is built on technology first, tried to, fit it to the education later, which we typically see, some tech startup comes along, tries to fit it to the education. But this is actually built by an educator for educators. And let's look at the credentials. I mean, you can see it on the screen. It has been backed by Gates Foundation. It has won EdTech Breakthrough Award, Smart Brief Innovation Award, and most importantly, Time's Best Innovation or Invention Award for 2025. This is only one of the 5 education companies globally that has won that award. World Economic Forum and OECD have recognized this, and it is compliant with the FERPA as well as Student Privacy Pledge as well. And something important for Indian schools, the platform has been validated by researchers at University of Virginia. This isn't just a tech product, like I said, it's grounded in solid academic research on how teachers actually improve. And the research shows AI coaching can be as effective as human coaching for goal achievement. This isn't me saying, this is not what I am saying. This is published research that is saying it. So what is exactly AI Coach? In simple terms, AI Coach is a video-based teacher development platform that helps educators improve their classroom teaching. Let's break it down. How does it work, right? First, the teacher reflects on their own lesson. How do they do that? They record 10 to 15 minutes of their classroom teaching on their phone or a laptop or any device. I mean, nothing fancy is required. Second, AI actually guides the entire process. The AI guides observation, reflection, action, and action planning. It's like a personal instructional coach available 24/7 to you. Number 3, it's about continuous improvement. So through short coaching cycles, teacher actually can systematically get better and better. I mean, it's not just through theory or through, reading, but it's a combination of theory and practice. Number 4, it is universal. So it's cross-curricular, cross-subjects, cross-grades, cross-board of examination. All of them inclusive. I mean, like CBSE, ICSE, State Board, IB, everything this applies to. So, and also let me share, the numbers that are that demonstrate the scale at which we have already worked on this platform. There are more than 5 million minutes of classroom videos that have been already processed by AI Coach. Over 400,000, which is 4 lakhs, professional development conversation have been facilitated. This is a patented technology under the US patent number 12106126B2. You can Google it, you can search it on US PTO. And most recently, like I said, Time Magazine has acknowledged AI Coach as the best invention for 2025. And what Time said about this platform really captures its essence, I would say, And what did they say? The platform helps teachers grow their instructional practice by guiding structured self-reflection on classroom videos of their teaching in action. But the magic isn't in the technology alone. It is in the coaching process itself. So let me show you how it works. In this image and in this slide, you can see the cycle that a coaching cycle follows. And this is the cycle I was talking about, teachers who you are here. This is the cycle I was talking about, one coaching cycle, right? Approximately takes about 2 hours to complete one cycle, but the teacher can complete it at their own pace. You can start and stop anytime. There are 4 phases of this coaching cycle. Number 1 is analyze. During analysis, teacher upload the short classroom video for self-observation. This is about, it's not about being judged. This is about self-reflection. So the video actually stays 100% private to the teacher. Only the teacher can see it, nobody else can see it. The AI's role here is powerful. So it identifies key teaching moments and provides guidance for self-observation. So along the timeline, I'm sure Faisal would show that, but along the timeline, you will be able to see these points where you need guidance, where you need to observe. And I mean, think of it like a coach that says, hey, look at this minute number 7, something interesting happened there with student engagement. That's exactly what the AI coach does. Phase 2, reflect. Based on their analysis, the teacher develop a goal-oriented improvement plan, and the AI actually supports by prompts to guided thinking. So the thought, it's as if, what did you notice about the students responding to your question? What would you do differently next time? So that those kind of reflective questions are asked by the AI. Number 3, in the enact phase, the teacher select a specific strategy to implement in their classroom, and the AI supplies curated resources, research-based strategies, video examples, and practical tips, and tracks those objectives. And number 4, finally, impact, right? After implementing, teacher documents their results, completes the reflection log, and the AI supports them in identifying the impact of their changes. And also for planning for the next phase, next future growth. The beauty is essentially each complete cycle counts as approximately 2 hours of professional development. And generally, teachers would complete 8 cycles in a year. That's about 16 hours. Right? That's exactly what the requirement is from CBSE NEP for complete on their own independently. Now, some of you might be thinking this sounds great, but does it actually work? Is there research behind it? The answer is yes. AI Coach is grounded in decades of proven teaching, learning science. And these are some of the researches that have been done. For example, improvement science. This framework has been developed by Carnegie Foundation's Anthony Brick. It's a systematic, continuous improvement through small, iterative cycles. Video-based practice analysis. This has been researched by Grossman and colleagues that have shown that this one is the most effective method for teacher learning globally. And not just for teacher learning, for any type of learning. Even if you look at competitive sports, they do video coaching for themselves, reflective practices themselves. Similarly, other researches are also included in this, and we'll be very happy to share these research evidence also to you. But these are some of the researches that this product is based on. And what skills can actually teachers develop using AI Coach? The answer is a comprehensive range of core teaching competencies. So this is based on core teaching competencies, core teaching skills. You can see those, listed on your screen. And many of these skills actually map to NCRT's or BK Pasi's research of the core teaching skills. I don't know how many of you remember BK Pasi's framework, but this was essential framework of teaching practice. And even science of reading foundations are covered, science of reading for higher age groups are covered, for upper grades are covered within this. The opportunity here is actually very significant. We can bring global research-backed teaching practices into Indian classrooms, that too at scale, like never before. And we can make it consistent and measurable. This isn't, importing Western methodology blindly. It is about giving Indian teachers access to the same professional development tools that teachers across the world's best education systems use. So here I'm going to stop talking about this, and I would love to introduce someone special that we have got for today's session. Mr. Mohamed Faisal Al Hasan is an experienced education leader with extensive expertise in teacher development, instructional improvement, and education leadership. He is the founder of CREL, which is the Center for Research in Education and Leadership. It's an organization that is focused on advancing teacher practice through research-informed methods. He's also a Cambridge International Center for Teaching and Learning program leader, supporting teacher growth and instructional excellence across Cambridge schools. So what makes Faisal particularly valuable for today's session is that he has actually used AI Coach and provided detailed feedback on how it works in the Indian context. He understands both the best global practices and is grounded in realities of Indian classroom. Right? Faisal has been known for implementing research-based approaches to student engagement and teacher reflection, and he brings the same thoughtful, evidence-based lens to evaluating tools like AI Coach. So without further ado, let me hand this session over to Faisal to give you a live demonstration on how AI Coach works in practice. Faisal, over to you.
Thank you, Dheeraj. Hope I'm audible.
Yes, loud and clear, Faisal.
Yeah, thank you. Right, so let me just share the PowerPoint. Right, so for this session, what we're going to do is that, as Mr. Dheeraj already mentioned, it's going to be interactive. So for some of the questions that are raised, I would suggest that if you could type it in the chat box, responses, that will be really amazing. So with that in mind, so let us just dive into the session. Okay, now as you could see here, in the year 2006-2007, a company by the name of McKinsey, it's a consulting company, they did a research to find out how the best performing schools comes out on top, right? They were assigned with a task to find out how the best performing schools come out on top. And they came up with just 3 significant findings, right? And here I've given 6. I would like you to mention what are the 3 significant findings that the company would have come to an understanding, or what insight that research would have given to them. Just 3 points, not 6. So here I've given 6, but McKinsey and Company came up with just 3 significant findings. So out of the 6 here, you have to just find out 3, the ones that really helps the school to come out on top. I'll give a minute for you. You can write the response in the chat box. Is it 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5?
Yeah.
You can provide your response there.
Yeah, please put in your responses in the chat. We'd love to be it an interactive session. If you guys would like to unmute yourself and talk, you can do that too.
Okay, 543. Okay. You can go wrong here. It's absolutely fine, right? Not an issue. Anyone else? Okay. So the company came up with, yeah, okay, I could see a few more responses. Okay, 16356. Okay, 236. Good. 6 as well. Okay. Fine. Okay, good. So what are the 3 significant findings that this company came up with was, these are the ones. 1, 2, 3 is the answer. Right? The first point being the quality of an education system cannot exceed the quality of its teachers. That's the first point. The second one being the only way to improve outcome is improve instruction. The third one being high performance requires every child to succeed. Now, if you look at all the 3 points, the most important aspect is that all the 3 points require the teacher to be well trained, right? So those are the 3 significant aspects that the company came up with, stating the reason for the top performing schools to perform in a better manner. These are the findings that they've come up with. Now, based on that, this is an image, right? This is an image. This is not an artificial generated image. It is not an AI image. So if you could tell me what is happening in this class, any guess? What do you think might be happening here? Any idea? Okay. This actually, in Japan, it's called a lesson study, where the teachers, what they do is that they take part in professional development program where they design a lesson and implement the lesson in the classroom. And this was an image taken from one of the images from one of the classrooms where the design lesson plan was implemented. So Japan, as a matter of fact, I think you must be familiar. They're very serious in terms of providing professional development program, training program for the teachers, right? And this is an example for that. And similarly, like going back to the earlier point which I had mentioned, these 3 points as well gives very much prominence for the teacher development program, which is a matter of fact in our country, we have the program, but not as efficient we would like to be, like how the Scandinavian countries or even Japan for that matter has. So with that in mind, let me just go on to the next slide. So this is how the page would look. I'll go back to the page again, website I'll go to. But before that, I'm not going to go into all the pages that is there in the website, because as Dheeraj had already mentioned, it takes approximately 2 hours. But what I can do is that I can take you across to some of the pages, which is pretty much important and prominent. So you'll have the landing page where it will ask you for the credentials. You can sign up with the Google credentials. And then as you move on, it'll give certain introduction in terms of what is an AI coach, right? What it does. It goes on the next page. AI coach is that like, so what does AI stand for? So everything in the platform, as it mentioned here, it is self-paced. It is the teacher can actually decide on how much time is required for them to be in this particular stage. So it is for the educators and a coaching cycle. So as you can see, these are some of the initial pages that you'll have right when you get into the AI coach website. Then at the end of the day, like obviously as you come up with the end of the coaching cycle, during the impact stage, you will also receive a certificate, right? So as you can see, as Mr. Dheeraj already mentioned, so this AI coach has 4 stages in it. One cycle has 4 stages in it. I would like you to tell me how the stages in the cycle would be organized under, right? Which would come first, which would come second, third, fourth. Dheeraj had already mentioned about this. I would like you to know like which would come first. Is it A, B, C, D, or is it C, D, B, A? You can type it down in the chat box, please. The time starts now. 4 stages in the cycle. You need to arrange it in the right order. What would be the first stage? Okay. A, B, C, D, C, B, A. Okay. What a few response here. Fine. So these are the stages. So analyze, reflect, enact, and impact. So these are the 4 stages that one cycle of the AA coach has in it: analyze, reflect, enact, and impact. With that in mind, let us just go on to the next slide. So you'll have a page where you have the video that you can upload. So for instance, you can have a video, a short video, which is for 5 minutes, or a video which is as long as 40-minute duration. It's absolutely fine to upload the video. And there isn't any specific requirement for uploading the video. There isn't any specific tools required to ensure that you need to upload the video. You can have a basic mobile as long as you have a basic mobile, as well as a spot where you don't have much noise interference. You're good to go. And this is the page where you'll be uploading the video. Once uploading is done, it'll ask you for the options which is that specific area that you would like to focus on, right? Is it about core teaching practice, literacy foundation, or is it literacy growth and application? So between the 3, which are the ones that you would like to choose? And as a matter of fact, based on the Indian context, we would be obviously choosing core teaching practices, because that's an area we would like the teachers to improve. And as mentioned earlier in the PowerPoint, where countries like Singapore actually spend close to around 150 hours per year, right? Even CBSE mandates for training hours. And based on that requirement, core teaching practice is something that we can choose. And these are the other page that it asks for the details. So now I've chosen core teaching practice. Under core teaching practice, which are the areas that I would specifically like to choose? So for instance, is it about checking student understanding, which CBSE talks about formative assessment, right? Which is again evidence-based research practice, comes from Dylan Williams' work. Is it student understanding that I would like to check? Or is it clearly communicating the expectations for students? So for instance, most of the class training programs where I've conducted, some of the teachers, I would say, we don't have clarity in terms of how to frame learning objective, right? As a matter of fact, if you've done B.Ed, we would have come across Bloom's taxonomy. How to make this a Bloom's taxonomy work, most of the teachers find it extremely challenging or difficult to frame it. And the research states that just by explicitly stating the Bloom's taxonomy verb or framing the learning objective and explaining to the student, the classroom performance or students' performance increases by 27%. That's what the research says, right? And you have the third point: build strong relationship with students, right? This is an area again like where teachers who are fairly new to the profession, who find it extremely challenging to do this, right? And because of not able to manage the class, they find it extremely challenging. As a matter of fact, within a year or so, we have attrition rate. Teachers leave the job, especially the freshers, the young ones who come to the job, right? How to solve that? So these are some of the problem areas which we have in our current practice, right? So you have these options here, right? You have the next page as well, which talks about all these options. So we need to choose a maximum of 3 from the option that is given here. It could be anything on classroom management, or clearly communicating the expectations, right? Or formative assessment, as I've already mentioned, right? How I can or differentiate my class. My classroom is a diverse class, right? Some students are above grade level. When I say above grade level, the performance is above. Let us say if the student is studying in grade 6, if I say the student is in above grade level, which means the student's performance is above grade 6 level. He might be on par with grade 7 student performance. So some students might be below grade level. Even though the student is in grade 6, his performance might be to grade 4 or grade 5. So we have diverse learners groups. So how to meet the learning needs of all the learners, right? These are some of the challenges which not only in India, almost across the world, we have these issues, right? So based on that, specifically, I'm going to choose like which are the ones that I want to focus on, right? So with that in mind, let me just move on. Okay. Yeah. Fine. As you could see, this is how the page looks. Right. This is how the page looks, and right. So here, as you could see, the coaching cycle have already begun, and here there's a page like by the side you could see the video option there, and on the right you also have a reflection log. Right. Whatever I actually type in, that will be captured in the reflection log. So you have this page where you have a video. So this is an option where after uploading the video, I'll be in a position to see my ad rather strengths and the challenges that I faced in the classroom. So this happens in a way that a pre-recorded video I upload, and then in my leisure, I'll come to the staff room or at my leisure, I will play the video and identify the areas where there are strengths and the areas where there are challenges. So for strengths, you have this option by the name strength, and for the challenges, they have the option by the name of note, right? And as I play the video, so let me just show you one. Okay, so here, let's see, right? So since I know like which are the strengths and which are the weakness, so this is an area like where I can actually type. So click on plus button, right? I can write the note, right? So as you could see, check for student understanding, managing student behavior, facilitating group discussions. So these are the options that I've chosen earlier after core teaching practices based on the pages that I just spoke about, differentiation, formative assessment. Based on my three choices that I've chosen, those three choices will be displayed here. It can be student understanding, managing student behavior, facilitating group discussions, or if we would like to add more to that, I can also do that. You have other options as well, right? So as of now, let us say that I'm checking for student understanding. So as a note, where I'm going to type about the challenging areas, I could mention, I could have checked students understanding. Right? Also, I could have used, I think, please. Also, I could have used, let's say, think, pair, and share activity. Right? To help check students right? So actually given this command there, right? This actually would come under the note column where I've actually mentioned at that specific point 1.43, where I was able to observe that I could have checked student understanding, and how I could have done is that probably I could have used think pair share, where when the students are sharing with each other, that I would have gained as an opportunity to understand how they are doing it, right? I'm just going to give that comment, right? As you could see, that comment would have already come. And then like these are the areas where I've already given the timestamp, right? Two learning objective or explicitly stated at the inception of the class. These are the other comments which I've already given. Students have been asked to share the learning objective and check for their understanding, right? I've given these comments here. Now, as you could see on the right, on the right, so you have this box where I can, this is the place where I get the comments or the prompts from. So I'm going to give yes, please, right? So would you like to review how the video player works? Right? Right, these are the default comments, you'll get it. Okay, got it. Okay, so it's asking like, if I want to change from, let us say, checking student understanding, if I want to go for something else, can I do that? As I've already shown, I can actually do that, right? So as you could see, there are only three options because these are the options that I chose earlier. And if I want to go further, I can go further. That's what it's asking for, right? Now, thanks. right? As you could see, at least 2 strengths and 2 challenges, right? So this is what it says. So at least 2 strengths and 2 challenges. So I have already given like more than 2 strengths and 2 challenges. As a matter of fact, the number comes to 3. So I've given that here, right? So now I'm going to give, okay, I'm done. Right? So at this point in time, I'm in the analysis phase. So analysis phase is basically a pre-recorded video in the class. I'm going to upload. After uploading it, I'm giving the strengths and challenges that I personally have observed in my class by using the video. So that's what has happened in the analysis phase. Right? Once I'm done, right? Thanks. Right? See that? So I'm in the analysis phase. So analyze phase just got completed. The next phase is reflect, right? So it asks me. So one of the advantages of having this tool is that I can pause in between and it can come the next day as well, right? That's absolutely fine in terms of like using this video. It's something like which based on my convenience, I can do that, right? So it is asking me whether I would like to go further ahead. So I'm going to give, yes, let's continue. Right? So it will actually give you a rating scale, right? What was really good about your class? And if you think on a scale of 1 to 10, you will be scoring somewhere in 7, 8, like whatever rating scale you would like to give, you can actually give. Let us say I'm going to give somewhere 6, right? Right? Right. So tasks about like what went well here, right? That's something like which I would have analyzed. You found 4 moments that marked the strengths in your video. You tagged all the moments as being, yeah, check for understanding. Right? So it is asking, you tagged all the moments as being related to checking for student understanding. That's what I'd given there, right? Is this what you expected or is it a surprise? I would give it's a bit of both expected and unexpected. There were certain expected moments and also there were certain unexpected moments. Right? So it is again asking me whether I would like to review the video again or would I like to continue. So I'm going to give continue. If I say that I want to review again, I can actually play the video and check for is there any strengths that I've missed out or is there any challenges that I've missed out. I can do that again. So at this point in time, I'm ready to continue, right? So we are done with analysis phase. As you could remember, we are in the next stage, which is the reflection, right? After analysis, I need to reflect on myself and see what are my areas of challenges that I need to work on, right? How would you summarize the strengths you found in this video, right? So as you could see, I didn't type this. So it has asked me for this prompt, how would you summarize the strengths you found in this video? It has, based on the strengths that I've given there, what it has done is that it itself has automatically generated the summary for me, right? So I'm going to use that. I'm going to just check whether if whatever I've given there, it has captured. I made sure explicitly stating the learning objective. Also provided clear explanation for the starter, which was again reiterated. Yes. So all those strengths that I've given, it has summarized and captured here. I'll click on this. Thanks. So all these points that I've given, that will be captured in the reflection log as well. So which I'll also be showing to you. So let us just continue at this point in time. Right. So it is captured. I've given 3 moments as notes, things to consider. So 3 areas where are the areas of challenges, right? So is this what you expected going into analysis? Yes, it was mostly what I expected. I'm going to give this option. Right. So it says like we are going to focus on only one skill area, that is checking for understanding. It is again asking me, would I like to give any comments here in the video or can we go ahead? So I'm going to give yes, please. Right, checking for student understanding. So as you can see, it has chosen checking for student understanding. Now I'm going to give on, okay, I'm done. Right. The next task is to summarize the notes you have made. Right. And it says that like it's about improving your professional development progress. So I'm going to click on agree. Thanks for the reminder. You can choose one of the option. Right. So it is again asking me where are the opportunities to improve. Right. So the opportunities to improve, like as I've already captured, that will again pop up here. So I need not type in again. So let us just check whether those challenges that I've captured in the video has been transferred here. So the options are I need to improve my checking for student understanding. I got to ask students to state the learning objective and explain answers instead of me. Additionally, I should have checked student understanding more. So yes, so I could say that it has captured all the information which I've actually given in the video. So that makes my job a little bit simple. So you need not type in again. See that everything is again saved in the reflection log. Both the challenges as well as the strength that gets saved in the reflection log. Thanks, let's continue. Right. Okay, so it's talking about frame that as a goal. Okay, what would you say needs to change to improve a rating to a scale of 7 or 8 next time? To improve my lesson, I would need to, let's say, ensure that right, let us say more formative assessments to be included to check for students standing at regular intervals. Right. So I'm just giving this option. I would ensure that more formative assessment to be included, right, to check for students' understanding. And if that is done, then I would give a rating of, let's say 7 or 8, right? I'm just going to give that. My students can check their progress. The form of success criteria, right? I'm just going to make it like even more specific, right? Let us say if I'm going to give success criteria for the student, they can check their progress. That's what I'm just going to do. Something has changed when the success criteria matches with the learning, right? So if you could see here, it asks you certain specific prompts which will make you to think, right? So for instance, so the question here asked is, how can you measure the change in your classroom with your students? Actually, I've given the success criteria earlier, right? The question asked was, what will be changed about student action or outcomes, right? My students can check their progress in the form of success criteria. And then I'm going further, how can you measure this? Right, that's something like which is very deep, and the teacher actually has to reflect and come up with a strategy to say, this is how I'll be checking whether the student has achieved that objective or not. So in this case, I mentioned I will know something has changed when the success criteria matches with the learning objective. So I'm going to just give again because I want students to reflect, monitor their progress so that I can improve my instructions, right? Right. So I'm just going to give this. This goal matters to me and my students because I want students to reflect and monitor their progress so that I can improve my instructions as well. Right? So based on the students' feedback, I can check how my classroom is also effectively happening. I've recorded all this to your reflection log for safekeeping. Thanks. So nearing the end of the reflection phase, right? So these prompts will be generated automatically, right? So as you can see, the reflection phase is over, right? Now I'm not going to go into all the different phases. As I already mentioned, it is a little bit time consuming. The fact that you need to have extensive time to do that. Now what I will do is I will just share this in the form of the PowerPoint so that we are clear in terms of how you're going to go about. As you could see, this is the analysis phase. This is the first stage of the cycle where a video was actually uploaded and then I had given the strengths and the areas for improvement. That is something which happened. There'll be minimum 2 strengths and 2 challenges that I can actually like capture it and I can go beyond that as well. And as a matter of fact, just like any video for that matter, like YouTube video or whatever social media platform you're talking about, we can increase the speed at which we are watching the video. If you want to decrease it, we can do that. And this is an option which is all, as a matter of fact, it is built in. And then, as I mentioned, I'm not going to go into all the different stages in detail. And we have done 2 stages here. The first one being the analysis phase, where we provided the timestamps, strengths and challenges. The next stage being the reflect stage. Reflect stage is what we did again, where there were certain questions asked. What will be changed about students' action or outcomes? How can you measure this change in your classroom and with your students? So these are some of the questions that were asked, which are actually kind of deep questions that were asked, right? Can you share with me why this goal is important to you? You will remember these questions were asked. And then the next phase is where you design the plan of action. Okay, now you have identified these are the areas that you want to work on. And what is your specific strategy that you have to accomplish that, right? How would you accomplish that? Right, so these are other questions that will be generated in the third stage, which is the enact phase, right? Come up with a specific strategy, right? Trying out new strategies and reflecting on the impact in your classroom. What is your plan of action and how would you collect data? Now, in this phase, what happens is that you will come up with a plan of action, and along with that, you'll also have certain resources that will be shared with you based on the earlier selection that you have done. So for instance, we have selected format to assessment, right? Checking for student understanding is something that we have selected earlier. So based on that, what it does is that it provides certain sources, right? Resources in the form of web application. So for instance, it actually gives one of the web link, which is based on teaching and learning, right? Learn students need to do something. This is actually again a resource that was given, which is already there in the platform, which you can click and read it. And then you also have the other resources as well, right? These resources are already there in the platform, which is inbuilt. Based on the selection that I've already made in the first stage, these resources will be given to you and the teachers can review, read this information and use it in the next stage, which is the impact stage, right? So let me just go back again to the slide where we have the presentation. Yes, so here we go. Yes, so here, as you could see, so in act phase, as I mentioned, this is where you will have all the resources to you, which you can use at your leisure. And it also talks about how will you collect data, right? So in what ways will you collect the data? For instance, I have given that I'll be implementing more format to assessment, right? And also said like I'll be giving success criteria, right? So for me, the template of success criteria is one way to collect data, right? So those questions also will be asked. And the final stage is the impact stage. So impact stage is where I have done the plan of action in the enact phase, where I've clearly understood, this is the strategy that I'm going to use, and some resources also has been given to me, and I can read those resources and use it in my classroom. And finally, I need to use those resources in the classroom, right? That is the impact stage where I'm going to practically implement whatever my plan is in the impact stage, right? What happened when you tried out the new instructional approach? Did did you do any data collection? Like what kind of data did you collect? So far, was it like verbally you gathered the data, or is it did you give any worksheet to collect the data? In my case, the success criteria was one of the template that I used to collect the data, right? So these are some of the questions that has been, which will be there in the impact phase, just like any other phase, right? You'll have these prompts which is generated and given to you, and the teacher is in a position to think and respond to the prompts, right? In all the stages, right? What you'll be able to observe is, barring aside the analysis phase where you're going to upload the video, and obviously there'll also be certain prompts, but the prompts will be more deeper and more reflective as we move from the analysis phase to the reflect, enact, and impact phase, right? In simple terms, these are the 4 stages which will be totally done by the teacher themselves, right? Because it is more teacher driven tool than management driven tool, or anybody for that matter, where a principal or a coordinator, it is completely done by the teacher, right? Where they need to clearly understand what are my strengths, what are my challenges. If these are my challenges, like what strategy should I use to improve my practice, and how am I going to improve, right? So using this reflective practice, the teacher at the final stage, which is the impact stage, will implement the stage in the classroom, or whatever like challenge that she has encountered. She has understood a strategy, she is going to implement, and then the cycle continues, right? So these are the 4 stages that will be incorporated in one cycle. As Dheeraj mentioned, typically a school can incorporate maximum of 6 to 8 cycle per teacher. That is something which would be ideal in the CBSE scenario, since CBSE is also talking about NEP, where you have skill-based learning is something that they are advocating for the past few years, right? So based on that, the stage is some like, as a matter of fact, 6 to 8 learning cycle is something which is advisable, so that the teacher reflect and tries to improve their performance. So these are the 4 stages. And as you could see, in the just after the enact phase, the 3rd phase, there'll be a break, right? The reason for the break is that the teacher has to obviously like do some research, find out how she is going to improve or work on the challenge, and then she is going to incorporate that in the classroom. And then after incorporating it, again, there'll be prompts that will be asked, for which the teacher responds, right? As mentioned, like here the prompts. What happened when you tried out the new instructional approach? Did you do any data collection? This will happen just after that. Is the teacher satisfied with what she has done, right? And also you have the time for you to choose this. So when can you actually choose to follow on with the impact phase, right? I can choose a date, like this is the date, again, I would like to do the impact phase. That is also given there in the, given as an option. And as I already mentioned, some of the prompt which is generated, for which the automatically generated prompt is also available here, right? Which the teacher need not type in and spend too much time on it. Rather, the whatever prompt has been, or whatever strengths and challenges with the teacher is already given, that will be copied, pasted directly without much teacher need to input or key in the details. It happens automatically, right? So this is the reflection log, right? Finally, upon completion, you will get the certification of completion from Athena for completing the entire cycle. Only upon completing the entire cycle will I be able to get the certificate. I will share you the details of certificates as well. So before that, okay. As you can see, this is how the certificate would look. 1 minute. Yeah. Yeah. That's how the certificate looks. So whatever detail has been captured in the reflection log, so that will be coming here. So the entire detail. So when did the cycle start? When did the cycle end? Right? So this is the analysis phase where I've given strengths and I've also given comments. Comments are basically the challenges that I faced. Right? In the reflection phase, the summary of it, the goal that I had set, how did I measure change, importance and significance, and again the enact phase, plan of action, and then the impact phase, right? Observed impact. After implementing, what was the impact? Did I achieve the goal, right? Based on the questions that was asked. And finally, upon completing it, so this is the teaching cycle certificate that I'll receive, right? So that's the certification part. Let me just go on ahead. Okay, fine. Okay, now what we'll do is that we'll have a short quiz here, right? Based on the presentation that was done. So there'll be a short quiz. Feel free to use the chat box and type your response. So let me just go on with.
Faisal, actually, we have gone overboard. It's 7 p.m.
Oh, okay.
already. So yeah, we can skip the the quiz.
Quiz, yeah.
Yeah. Right. So first of all, thank you so much, Faisal. That was very detailed and technical explanation of how the product really works. And I'm sure all of the educators, school leaders, and even some education consultant, which we saw are there in this session, would definitely appreciate this. So moving towards a conclusion and sort of summarizing, the benefits of this platform to all key stakeholders. I mean, you've seen how the AI coach works. Faisal has brilliantly shown that, and for teachers, what is the benefit for the teachers? It's not just generic, workshop training where you're sitting and receiving some information, but it's feedback specific to your teaching, right? It's customized, it's personalized. 100% it is private reflection. So you're working independently with your AI coach and making sure, that you're progressing. There's no pressure. There is no judgment of any third person. It's a self-paced environment. So, I mean, it's self-paced improvement. So there's no, it depends on your, schedule. Whenever you're available, you can continue the cycle. And end of the cycle, as Faisal was kind enough to showcase, you get a certificate of completion, and that covers 2 hours of professional development. And for all the teachers on this session, imagine having that coaching partner, having that teacher guide available 24/7 who never ever judges you, only helps you grow, right? For schools, the advantage is consistent teaching quality, right? You're giving a tool that enables every teacher to progress with their personalized objectives wherever they feel there are gaps. So that's consistent teaching quality. For schools, no disruption in timetable. You don't have to find separate time to do this. You can do this along with it. You definitely have carved out time that can be utilized for professional development using this. So you don't need to miss classes specifically. There's no infrastructure needed. You don't have to do any changes to your infrastructure. It works on the existing devices. All you need is their device and an internet. For school leaders, essentially, think about impossible challenge of providing coaching to 50 or 100 teachers, getting intervention done at classroom level. it's complicated, right? It can be achieved. It's not that we cannot achieve that, but it's complicated. You have to manage schedules. You need availability of the coach. You need to have the right coach, so on and so forth. And especially for education consultants and resellers that are on this call, there is no inventory that you have to keep. You don't have to buy a physical product and store it somewhere. There are no logistics. There is no, I mean, it's a simple annual subscription model. That's how, schools also subscribe to it. Very easy to demonstrate. And, pilot conversations or conversions are very easy. You just give them one cycle to do it. They will definitely love it. Teachers would appreciate it. It is done very quickly. And that's what we are doing with all the schools at the moment we are working with. This is a very high repeat renewable potential. I mean, this is very personalized, right? So there's nothing like this in the market. This is a very strong differentiator. And especially if you're a teacher trainer, a teacher coach, it's even better for you to bundle it with your services, existing services. It just enables every teachers to independently grow. Whether you're a teacher, school, or a reseller, when you work with us, you're not on your own. We provide comprehensive support. We provide product sales training. Product training is provided to teachers, to schools. Sales training is provided to resellers. Demo pilot setup is provided as a part of the parcel. So if somebody wants to do a demo, you want to run a pilot in your school, feel free to reach out to us. We will help you to set that up. All proposal, pitch decks, sales presentations are available for resellers from us. We give comprehensive training also on that. School onboarding training assistance is continuously provided. We are based out of India. Notary training as well as India market entry. We are based out of India. So when a school signs up, we help them the entire onboarding process. And we do have ongoing customer support, success support. This is not, just give you the tool and that's it. You have a 24/7 customer support helpline number where you can call anywhere you get stuck. We'll be very happy to answer any of your questions and make sure you're able to use this product efficiently. So total trainings and India market entry together has been helping international companies succeed in India since our founding. We work with more than 35 different educational products and services. So we bring that same dedication to Eltina, an AI coach. Right, so let's talk about pricing. And this is where it gets exciting. It's an annual subscription of 4,999 per teacher per year. Right? Let me put that into really a perspective for you. That's essentially like 14 rupees a day. Yeah. And for that, teachers get what? No limit on number of professional development cycles at all. We recommend generally 8 professional development cycles per year, but it's completely in your control. I mean, 16 hours is what is prescribed to be taken by teachers outside of the CBSE or the state board, trainings. And certificate is provided with every cycle, right? So approximately 2 hours per cycle. Very meaningful, not rushed into, just 1 2-hour session attended and, not like that. If you compare it with like traditional workshops and other things, this becomes much, much reasonable from an institution perspective, from a school perspective, from a teacher perspective. It becomes a fraction of the cost actually if you really hire a coach and get the similar service. And there are also volume discounts available. So if your school has 50 teachers, 100 teachers, 500 teachers, or a school chain has multiple number of teachers, there are volume discounts available. And you can talk to us post this session for specific pricing as well. As a next step for all of you teachers, we are offering 1 free cycle for trial, no payments, no commitments, just experience the platform, see if this is the right thing for you. For administrators, we are offering free 1:1 consultation. We'll discuss your specific needs, understand how this can be used in your contextual setting. We will show you how this works in your contextual setting. We can also design a pilot program if you're interested. So let's hop on a call and do that 1:1 consultation session. For resellers and other teacher training providers, we are offering partnership exploration meeting. Let's discuss. Let's talk how AI coach can add value to your portfolio and also create a profitable partnership for Athena and you, right? So let's do that. You can see a QR code on your screen here. You can scan that, or my colleague will also share a link in the chat. Now, that link will help you to start the next step. Fill in your details, very simple details, fill in those. And somebody from our team will connect with you within the next 24 to 48 hours. Either if you're an educator, set up a free cycle, administrator, set up a free 1:1 consultation, or a reseller or teacher training provider that is wanting to add this to their portfolio, will be very happy to entertain a conversation. And do remember, if we go off, remember that this product has won Time's Best Invention of 2025. Already 5 million plus minutes of classroom video has been processed. This has been research validated, patent protected technology. It is perfectly aligned with NEP's 2020's 50-hour continuous professional development requirement. And this is a genuine opportunity to bring world-class teacher development to Indian schools. So please, without wasting time, please fill in that form, get your journey started with us, and look forward to serving you on the other side. So we open up this session for quick Q&A, right? Any questions that you might have, feel free to ask those, whether in the chat, whether you want to unmute yourself and ask us those questions. We are here. Please let us know. Any questions, any queries, guys? Please feel free to share. You can unmute yourself, or you can put your questions in the chat. We'll be happy to answer all of those questions. Once again, I would like to thank Faisal. Faisal, thank you so much for that detailed explanation and presentation, as well as the demonstration of the platform. That was comprehensive. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Dheeraj. So, as we wait for the questions, so let me just give one other pointer here. Because typically in schools, for someone to observe the class, you'll need to have too many manpower resource there. So the teacher who's obviously going to be observed, along with that, the principal, the coordinator, right, or the HOD. So you have too many manpower that is going to get involved. And as a matter of fact, in the Indian context, we don't have time for that. So what platforms like Athena does is that, like, it is customized and gives the opportunity for the teacher to self-evaluate and reflect and see what their strengths are and what their challenges are, right? So the manpower gets drastically reduced, and that's something which is something to be considered, right, as we come to the end of the session.
Of course. Yeah, absolutely. I think, we talk a lot about personalized education for students, right? We talk a lot about that, but we don't talk about, personalized, coaching or education for teachers. So, yeah, this is one of those tools that is making it available, scalable, right, for all teachers. Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Any attendance link, Rekha? No. So like we said, you fill in the form. Somebody from our team will connect with you and assign you that free one coaching cycle. You can use the coaching cycle, and towards the end of it, you will get a full report with certification. If you like what you see, happy to discuss how we can, work together. All right. Anybody, any other questions, please?
Okay.
I think everybody understood everything very well, Faisal. I guess that detailed explanation actually made everything clear. Yeah.
And also, one more point is that, like in the West, there's a concept of instructional coach, where the coach actually trains the teachers again and again. But
Yeah.
in Indian context, we don't have that opportunity to do that, right? Something which we lack. I think it's the teachers can take up and try this and see like how it works, give a feedback. I think that will also be helpful for us to see.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that one cycle, you use it. If you have feedback, we would be very happy to incorporate changes also within our system and make sure that this aligns with your goals. Yeah. It would be amazing to get that feedback. So please register yourself and we'll make sure you get that free one coaching cycle from us. And yeah, and await your feedback on it. All right, I think there are no further questions in here. So I'll just wait another minute or so. If anybody has any questions, please share. Otherwise, we'll end this session. We've already gone overboard by 15 minutes, which is fine. But yeah, any questions? We are here. We can answer any of your question that you might have, please.
And thanks for the participants. Like, in spite of being like 6, 7, like they've still joined and try to understand what is happening in the field of education in terms of AI, something which is hot and happening.
Yeah,
The people who are here are the ones who are, I think, must be really curious to understand what is really happening in it.
Yeah, it's the first step to learning, I guess, right? I mean, if you've shown interest in such a topic and carved out time late evening, after a hectic school day, which is always challenging, and then you've come back and you've carved out time for such a session, that's the first step for your growth and professional development. So thank you so much for all of the audience. Rightly said, Faisal, yeah. That have joined it today. All right, so I think with this we'll end the session, Faisal, here, and appreciate all of you joining in, and we'll see you again next month. Take care. Bye-bye.